Sometimes when I close my eyes, I see the world from a bigger size. But I never seem to realize what happens when my life is done. What began and what must end, I try to find and comprehend. But in the end, I just pretend. What happens when I'm gone, when my life is done? Well, some songs are happy and some songs are sad. Some songs are really well rehearsed and other songs are bad. Well, some songs are angry and some songs are sweet. Some songs are made to help you wake up in the morning. Well, here's a little song to help you go back to sleep. There isn't any God, and when you die you just dead. In heaven sits the fairy tale to put you to bed. Sometimes I think about the chance that I'm wrong, and then I close my eyes and just remember the song. I said there isn't any God, and when you die you're just dead. In heaven sits the fairy tale to put you to bed. There ain't nobody watching us cause nobody cares, and in the end we're living all alone. If I could live forever, I'd do it if I could. Leave it all behind, everything that I've done. It's just as bad as if it never begun. And if I was a believer, and Lord knows I've tried, well, I could be at peace when I close my eyes, and I could go to heaven on the day that I die. There isn't any God, and when you die you just dead. In heaven sits the fairy tale to put you to bed. Sometimes I think about the chance that I'm wrong, and then I close my eyes and just remember the song. I said there isn't any God, and when you die you just dead. In heaven sits the fairy tale to put you to bed. There ain't nobody watching us cause nobody cares, and in the end we're living all alone. Love don't matter cause you die in the end, and money don't matter cause you die in the end, and life don't matter cause you die in the end. But it's really never over, no, it's really never over. There isn't any God, and when you die you're just dead. In heaven sits the fairy tale to put you to bed. Sometimes I think about the chance that I'm wrong, and then I close my eyes and just remember the song. I said there isn't any God, and when you die you're just dead. In heaven sits the fairy tale to put you to bed. There ain't nobody watching us cause nobody cares, and in the end we're living all alone.
There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and I apologize, first off, for the extremely down music in the beginning. The name of the song was Gospel. I really thought it would, at least be more uplifting, but it was just kind of sad and morbid. I'll do better. I'll do better in the future. But I do like to experience these things first with you guys. So that was definitely an experience. Anyway, with me as always
I was
tonight.
just about to pull my knife out.
With me, as always, is my trusty suicidal co-host, Ayrton McCartney. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Not too bad. How about you?
I've been better, but it cost more. But I'm really excited. We're joined by a very special guest today in the digital studio. Let me make sure he's unmuted. I have a habit. There we go. Can you hear us?
Can hear you.
All right. We are joined by Happy Jack of Knuckle Studios, the creator and distributor of Tales from Nerosville. How are you doing tonight, pal?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's our pleasure, as always. We definitely have an idea that the main bit of the show will be about your experience with crowdfunding and fulfillment and all of that stuff. We usually do like a little 5-10 minute housekeeping segment at the beginning, let people get in here, see the tweet, follow the links and all that good stuff. But is there anything you want to talk about before we get into the main meat of it? Anything been going on? Any new upcoming projects you're planning?
Well, right now I'm gearing up for the second Indiegogo, and I have a friend now that's helping me with different social medias and everything. So I'm going to be revamping the website and the YouTube channel. So watch for that to get moving again. Aside from that, I'm just cranking out.
Are you going to integrate Instagram? I know it sounds pretty weird, but apparently that is the social media site to gain notoriety from.
I'm on Instagram. I do post on there. I don't see a whole lot of movement from that, but I try to hit Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You got to get your hashtag game on point, from what I understand. It's all about the hashtags on the gram. So,
the girl I'm seeing now has given me hell about my hashtags.
Well, I mean, it's always good to have somebody like that in your corner. For me, I just kind of had to throw myself head first at figuring shit out, and I just, always fail miserably at it. But I have a good time along the way, and that's what really matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how you learn.
And everyone knows I'm not his social media guru, so.
Ayrton, I don't think you even know what a social media is yet.
No, I'm still learning.
Okay. I mean, you figured out retweeting on Twitter, and for that, we're really proud of you. Let's see here. I didn't bring it up on the show yet, so let me see if I can dig that out. Got some new church artwork to show off, courtesy of Dillard Draws, for anyone who hasn't seen it. Yeah,
I loved his.
Just leave the dead air, guys. I appreciate it. I definitely.
I was taking a sip.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, Ayrton. I'll just fire you later for it.
I was going to talk, but I didn't want to step on Ayrton's toes. So.
Always step on Ayrton's toes. Always step on my toes. I mean, it's fine. We don't mind. Just dead air is the worst thing ever. So. And we're back.
Anyways, so Dillard.
Jesus Christ, guys, you're killing me.
Do you have that pulled up yet?
I'm working on it. Shit.
Oh, okay.
You see what I put up with?
So, Ayrton, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How are you, man?
Not bad. Do you have any new art you'd like to share?
I just ate shit walking up to my house when I got home like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
So that was fun. Yeah.
You just decided not to talk about that. That's not what you wanted to fill the dead air with.
Well, I mean, it was like kind of warmish out today, and then now it got really fucking cold, so just everything's ice.
Oh, okay.
I did not see a patch of ice.
It was a slip. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I had that artwork up on the stream for anyone watching. That is courtesy of Mr. John Dillard, fantastic artist. Completely unsolicited, he dropped that on me, and I'm like, still kind of picking my jaw up off the ground.
That's awesome.
It's absolutely.
I think
beautiful.
it's the most accurate.
It is. I mean,
likeness we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It looks just like me. It really takes my being as big as the house right into to full effect. I appreciate that of him. Not sure how he knew, but good on him. Nothing, nothing. Great. I'm glad that landed. So, anyway, we are joined by Jeremy Carroll, Matt Christie, Darb, and Jason Meadows in the chat. Thought it was Jason.
And Captain Weeb.
I did not see Captain Weeb in the chat yet. Where's he at? Like
Up at the top. He said,
okay.
Hello, cool kids.
I see him.
You said Hail Weeb to him.
Shut up! I didn't see him still there. God damn it!
Oh.
that was at least 2 minutes ago. Come on.
Right. Come fuck on, man. All right. So, anyway, as you know, we followed dozens of crowdfunding campaigns on this channel. I just recently backed the Canadian Shield, and today I backed Mary Boys. So, obviously, I backed Tales from Nerosville and picked up an advert in one of the books that I've shown on stream, and we'll probably pull back up because, goddamn, it was beautiful. But
thank you for that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's kind of always been a dream to see something of mine in a comic book, and as with most of my dreams, I accomplished it entirely too early and was left wondering what to do next.
It's all downhill from here.
It is. It's kind of like dating Madonna. Like, you peak, and then there's just nothing left after that. That's an old song reference. I'm a boomer. I don't expect anyone else to get it. But if you get it, kudos to you, and you have shit choice of music like I do. So, anyway, talk to us about the experience of crowdfunding. Anything like, take us through the process. The rise and fall of the camp. Well, not the rise and fall, but like the peaks and valleys of the campaign. What all you went through. Just start going off. If we have any questions, we'll jump in, and I'll throw the Discord link in the chat in a few minutes and let people call in if they have questions.
Well, initially when I was kicking around doing a crowdfunder, I was watching a bunch of the guys that were doing them, and a bunch of the complaints I was seeing was that the books were late. So one of the early decisions that I made was to make sure the books were completely ready before I even launched the crowdfunder. So I had paid the artist and everything, and I did all of my work, and the books were, aside from ads and thank yous and that sort of thing that would have to be added post-campaign, I made sure everything was done. Launched the...
You dropped out there for a second. What were you saying? You made sure everything was done and what? Oh, no. You predicted
just kind of sitting there.
You predicted it. You
fell
out. Yeah, you fell out about 12 minutes in, just like you thought you would. But you sound good now, so let's go. You've got all
so
the
I
art
am back now?
Yeah, you paid the artist. You got everything ready to go except the ads, and that's kind of where you fell off. Hello.
Oh no. Anybody there?
All right,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go into your Discord.
Yeah.
And go down to your settings where it has your name and the little cogwheel.
Yeah.
Click on that cogwheel.
Mm-hmm.
Go to
Okay.
Go to voice and video.
Okay.
And there's input sensitivity right under voice activity.
Yeah.
Turn off automatically determine, make sure that is off, and then pull the little bar below that all the way to the left to where it's just all green.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
That should fix it.
So,
anyway.
All right.
So now we're
Fingers
back.
crossed, at least.
Man,
audio issues checked off
it's
the list.
me. When I get on, I just keep falling off.
Oh no, just everybody playing Gospel of Comics Bingo at home, just check off audio issues on your cards.
I thought that was the free square.
No, church showing up late and drinking is the free square.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, continue.
I launched it. I launched the crowdfunder, picked up some backers right away, which was great. And then you hit the lull, and you're just kind of sitting there waiting to see what happens. And came on strong at the end and got where I initially wanted to be. It wasn't our goal, but we got up where we wanted to be. So we were pleased with that. The books were going to ship no matter what. We'd committed to that at the beginning. So that part was fun. I had did some different interviews and everything with you guys and some other shows that were great. Had some reviews of the comics, and all of the reviews were amazing except for one. The guy hated every single thing about the book, and he was especially pissed that the book was an anthology with rotating teams and everything, which was point one of my goal and description for the comic book.
Okay.
And his other main hanging point was that the book seemed like a 1980s indie comic, which was point two of my goal and everything I announced on suddenly. Dude, did you even read anything about the book? And just to top it off, he finished the review with, "I hope this guy never puts out another book."
Well, good.
So,
that means you've made it as a creator. You've got your first hater out there. It's a real life hater. It proves that your book is good because someone hates it.
It was like a bit of a swift kick in the nuts when I listened to it the first time, and then I just kind of shook it off, and now I just laugh about it. So that was actually kind of fun.
I do say that in jest, but at the same time, like, I'm not really kidding when I say that. Like, every good creator, every good project out there is gonna have its haters, and honestly, they're kind of like how they say there's always the exception that makes the rule. That's what I feel like the people that really don't like your stuff are. Like, as long as it's overwhelmingly positive and there's only one or two people out there, then I would actually take that as a good sign because as somebody who dabbles in art and creativity and doing crafts and shit like that, there's always going to be that one person that you're never going to please, or that one subsect of people that you're just never going to make happy. And
the co-host really enjoyed it. So every time the co-host would talk about something he really liked, the other guy was like, I fucking hated that. I hated that too.
That's happened with me and Ayrton a couple of times. Like, we've read something and reviewed it and had alternating views. I'm always kind of like a silver lining kind of guy for the most part, though. So, I mean, even if I hate every aspect of something, I will look for something positive in it if it has any redeeming qualities. Like, even if I didn't like that it was an 80s style comic and an anthology, I would have pointed out, the character design or the artwork or, the paneling. Something about the book at least is going to appeal to me. But some people you just can't please, and other people are just contrarians.
Yeah. Well, I sent the link to my buddy. I was like, dude, this guy destroyed me. And so he Googled the guy. He's like, this guy draws furry porn. Like, that's this guy's putting out. I'm like,
right on track.
Pronouns in the bio.
Yeah, I'm seriously like, he sent me links, and it's all, this guy does nothing but furry porn. I'm like, all right, well, I am not his goal audience, and vice versa.
Yeah. So I'm not going to ask you to. I kind of wanted to ask you to name them, but I'm not going to make you do that. That's just weird. I don't want to do that.
I was going to ask him to name him.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It seems rude. But I am.
I'll tell you after we shut down the mics.
There we go. That'll be good. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull up what I received for my my contribution. I believe my standard contribution before paying for the ad was the standard $11 package. I may have gone one higher, I'm not sure, but based on what I got, I think it was just the $11 package. And I was amazed at everything I got. I mean, everything was just it perfect, condition when it came in. There was a sketch, there were like ash cans, decals, there was a little button. I mean, everything that I got was just great, and we had already reviewed the books, and you knew that I kind of loved them because for me it was, if I remember correctly, it was kind of a merge between Astro City and the Justice League, or the Big Eight team or whatever. And the old
that was kind of the goal for the first 2 issues, yeah.
And then you got to the third issue, I believe, was the one with I'm blanking on the characters. I'm horrible for this, but it's kind of a weakness of mine. Doug, I believe.
Boardwalk.
Well, the two characters, Doug and what was the other one?
Yeah, Airball.
Airballs.
Airball and Lightning Doug.
Lightning Doug and Airballs, yes. And that gave me
still my favorite characters.
It gave me a serious Tick vibe. Like, it wasn't as outrageous as the Tick, but it had that same kind of buddy cop feel to it, and I loved it so much. It just made me so happy reading these books, and to hold them in my hand, and to see all these other characters, and to look at it in color, and then to see my ad, which you'll see prominently displayed on the screen here, tooting my own horn. It blew me away. This is one of my favorite crowdfunders that I've received, and we've received a handful at this point. So, what was it? Anyway,
yeah, and
go ahead. Sorry.
So, even with all that preparation and having everything ready, the one bit of advice that I would throw out there for anybody thinking about doing a crowdfunder is prepare for inevitable hiccups. So with my books, because I did them on newsprint, because I was going for that 80s vibe, I went with, Pete Sametti and his printing partnership. And the printers, that's why if you look at your picture there, there's 2 copies of issue 1 because the printers screwed up issue 1. And so no problem. Pete said they'll reprint them for free. It's not a big deal. And then, they promptly stopped doing business with Pete and dropped him. So, even though I had all my ducks in a row and everything ready, everything got pushed back by 6 weeks because of printer issues. So, no matter what you do, be prepared for something to, something completely out of your control to screw you up. And because our books ended up shipping, 4 to 6 weeks, that's why I threw the free sketch in for every backer. Every backer got a free sketch.
Okay. I was wondering. At first, I felt kind of weird putting this out there because I didn't think it was something special because we just had you on or anything like that. I didn't want to make anybody else feel like, oh, well, he's just rewarding the people. I didn't think that was the situation. Because I feel like you would have said something about that. But when I opened it up, I was like, this is definitely worth more than what I paid for. So that kind of brings me to one of my first questions. And, feel free to just sidestep this if it's a little too personal or whatever. But did the campaign actually cover the cost of doing everything?
Honestly, I haven't sat down and done all the math. I think I'm probably ended up at about a break-even point.
Okay.
Which was fine for me. I mean, the point of the first campaign was to get the books out, get the word out, get the book out, and try and drum up some attention for the next one.
Right.
And I'm hoping that I did that, hoping that I have return backers next time and pick up some new ones. But I think best case scenario, just going off the top of my head, it's probably about $100 window, whether I lost $100 or made $100 on the campaign.
I mean,
okay.
I don't mean to sound contrite or dismissive or anything like that, but if that's where it was, honestly, I feel like you did great. Because from working in restaurants and stuff, because I'm a poor person and I've done that a lot in my life. But from working in kitchens and with restaurateurs and business owners and being a wage cuck most of my life, when you start a venture that you essentially make your business, you just basically set out to either lose money or at least not make money for the first couple of years. I mean, you have your breakaway successes, and we've seen that within Comicsgate, but I feel like a lot more creators are on that, we broke even, we put everything we had out of the campaign back into it. And then that turns around and it reflects in future backers and more money reflected in further campaigns if they did it right. So hopefully that's the situation you'll find yourself in.
Like I said, I was in a little better situation than some creators out there in that I had the money put aside and paid all my artists, had all the books done, and I also had enough money squirreled away that if we sold one book, one set of books, I still had enough money put away to do all the printing and have all the books and do everything I needed to do, just because I was going to make it happen no matter what.
Okay.
Now, luckily, it ended up far better than selling one set of books. But yeah.
Well,
one of the other things that I've heard from other people doing crowdfunders through Indiegogo is that they're having trouble and they're having delays getting their money from Indiegogo. When my campaign was over, I hit the thing. I had my money within, I think, 3 days. So I don't know if I just got lucky or if those other guys just got unlucky. But, the money was in my bank account within days, so I was good to go.
Now, from the people you heard that of, how large were their campaigns?
They were, obviously larger than mine, but they weren't huge. I mean, some of these guys had $6,000 to $15,000 campaigns. They weren't the huge ones. They weren't doing the $100,000+ but it just seems like it's a little hit or miss with Indiegogo. And I did hear some of them saying that they didn't put their financial information in until the end. I don't know if that's a thing. I put mine in right away. As soon as I went into Indiegogo, I set everything up that I could to try and have everything, down.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have a question for you in the chat. Dillard wants to know if he can borrow $6 from you.
No, I got you, Dillard. Just hit me up in the DMs. I'll get you that chicken bucket, son. All right, buddy. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. All right. So he asked to borrow $6. I guess Happy Jack gave it to him. So now he's got to go. He's got to go find the crack guy and give him the $6. So, but anyway, so was that the misprinted issue? Now I haven't had a chance to look at that. What was the problem with that issue? Why did they have to reprint it?
The issue was, so there's one panel in there where Lightning Doug says, "How about a handful of lightning?" And some of the lettering that I do all the lettering on the books. The lettering was in color. Certain words were in color rather than black and white. When they set up the printers, they only printed in black and white. So if it was not black lettering, it didn't print. So, in that panel, it's just Doug saying, "How about a handful of," and then there's just an empty balloon there. And there was a few, if you compare some of the pages, you'll see where some of the lettering looks a little off because it might have been, blue with or black with a blue outline around it or different colors, and there's just no word there.
Okay.
A huge error. It wasn't missing pages or anything, but it,
right.
I didn't want people to, look at it and not have my best work out there.
Well,
plus, and that's the other thing is I had 500 copies now of the misprinted issue, so that's why I'm like, well, they can sit here, I can throw them away, or I can just send them out to people for free who back the book, so everybody got a free copy of, the misprint issue as well.
Well, now you have to go to a convention so that I can get that misprint issue signed.
I do plan on doing some cons. All depends on how far you want to drive.
Well, I mean, we'll wait for the Woo Flu to pass over, and then I'll come find you somewhere and make you sign everything that isn't signed already. But just walk up and be like, "You don't know who I am," but throw some money at you. Sign my book. But I was watching on Twitter today, and Peter Simeti had posted a video, and I'm like, "Oh, I love Peter. That's getting clipped. Jesus Christ! I love Alterna. I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna watch this." And he had a misprinted book. It was one of his $5.99 8-page giant issues, and oh man, there were pages out of order. Like the back of the book was in the middle of
Jeez.
chapter 2. The front of the book was like 12
Ugh.
pages in. You just couldn't follow the story. It was so bad. And now he's selling them on his website. So I went and bought one. I'm going to do the same thing to him. I'm going to wait to find him at a convention and be like, sign my bad book.
The printers will reprint them for free. They do not ship them for free.
Yeah.
So, you end up paying the shipping. So
I think
you got to try and get a little bit of that money back.
he got. I think he got it handled, and the regular ones are on his way to him and whatever. But I think the biggest problem he's going to have is he had so many sent to Diamond for distribution, and he had to basically contact them and make sure that they didn't send any of those out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, so you had everything done from the get-go. You were basically ready to go to print the day you launched your campaign almost. Is that something you would recommend to creators to consider in the future if it's feasible? Like, I know that some people aren't going to be able to, but would it make sense to have the ability to fulfill a campaign before you launched it and just kind of set the campaign to make your money back plus some, rather than to set up a campaign and do all the work or have to wait for the money to start the work?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't know. Now, I am not a person that's known for my patience, and I have backed a few, and, I understand the wait. I know all too well how long it takes to create a comic book.
Right.
So, I understand that if they are running a crowdfunder to campaign the creation of the book or to pay for the creation of the book, it's going to be 9 months, a year till that book goes through the entire process, gets printed, and ends up in the backer's hand. Mm-hmm. So if it is something that's feasible or an option for you, it's just one more feather in your cap, and it does build a little trust and stuff with your backers. So it's something. It's not for everyone, but it's an option. So now the money from the first campaign is in my bank account. I have that to help with the second campaign. I am again hit a bit of a hiccup with an artist, but we're moving forward on the next campaign. Now,
do you want to get into that at all, or I believe you brought that up when I invited you on to talk about this stuff. I didn't know if you wanted to go on to it live. Like, you don't have to name anybody or anything like that, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that at all.
No, you gotta name them. You gotta dox them. You gotta just tear them.
Yeah, social security numbers. Yeah, I want to see pictures of their family. I'm kidding.
Type in their address and phone number in the comments right now. But
good.
One of the things that I like about doing Tales from Nearsville and doing, the different stories and different characters and everything is when I write a story, I get to go out and search for an artist that truly fits that story. So I did find an artist that is doing this next story for me that I liked his art. The style was great. And, he told me that when I hired him, he told me he could have the book done in a month. That was last March. And I've seen about a half a dozen. I think I've seen about 6 out of 22 pages so far.
Oof.
And there is plenty of excuses and all of that. And quickly losing what little patience I have. But, I've already partially paid for it. So, I'm kind of in a catch-22 here.
Yeah, you're in for a penny, in for a pound.
So, yeah. It's something else for other creators to consider when working with artists, because the artists on the first 3 books, the first 4 issues actually, because the next issue is done. Issue 4 is done and ready to go. Issue 5 is being drawn, and then the other book that's going to be included with the next campaign is actually part 1 of a 3-issue miniseries, which I did everything on. That one's done. Okay. So, you just gotta you just got to hope that who you're working with is as committed to the project as you are.
Yeah, and I think that that goes back. We were talking about this a little bit before on a previous episode, but you always often find more writers going after artists to complete these projects. It's very rare that you see a writer or an artist looking for a writer. Like, most writers don't go looking for work like, hey, let me draw your comic. Write a comic for me to draw, writer guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I don't know if that speaks because I'm definitely not going to say that writers are systematically lax. I mean, that's just the stereotype, but I don't believe that, honestly. I feel like or not writers, artists are stereotypically lax, and as far as responsibility and deadlines go. But
well, that's because cocaine and cigarettes have fallen out of fashion.
yeah, it's all about the marijuana vape and the NyQuil now, right? Isn't that what the kids do?
Yeah,
For fun.
Exactly.
Like the vapor marijuana and the NyQuil. I mean, I drink the whiskey. That's my speed. I smoke the cigarettes and drink the whiskey. So I guess you can call me old
I drink anything I get my hands on.
I've been collecting whiskey for the inevitable Wu flu coming down on us. Now, you've touched on some issues and some experience you had in the crowdfunding process. What about the fulfillment process? Talk to us about that. How did you go about fulfilling the campaign?
So, going back to the actual campaign itself, when I was setting it up, the main concern that I had was shipping cost, because when you go into your campaign and you're setting up your perks, you got to put your shipping cost in. And I spoke to a guy, Doug Garrett, who had run a successful Indiegogo campaign, and he was super cool and helpful. And he told me he did $5 domestic flat, $10 to Canada, $25 international, and that worked out well for me. That part worked out well. So when I did go into the fulfillment part, I was a little ahead of the game financially that wise. But one of the things I was looking at is how I'm going to ship these books, because I'm shipping 4 issues and the additional stuff, and a lot of guys are using the Gemini mailers, and they're running about $1 a piece.
Yeah.
And I found bubble envelopes on Amazon for 28 cents each with free shipping. So I ordered 200 of those and came in under what I would have paid for a third of that many Gemini mailers.
Right.
So my packaging was not the most professional, but it seemed to do the job. Everybody's books are showing up in good condition. They're not beat up. And the post office, it has been cool with me taking in, stacks and stacks of books every day, and the prints. The one perk had an 11x17 print in it that I didn't want to roll up because I hate getting curled, posters and prints in the mail.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ship them flat. But everything's going smoothly. And as a matter of fact, just this morning, I went to the post office and sent out the very last books to backers. I have one that kicked back as a bad address, so that's what I've got to contact the backer about. But I've completed my fulfillment this morning, so that was a really good feeling.
Nice. Now we do have someone in the waiting room, so I'm gonna bring them in. Just 1 second here.
And his name is John C.
What's going on, Einbrecht? How's it going?
I'm Breck. Welcome to the show.
Greetings, gentlemen.
How's it going, buddy? Now, you were talking in the chat about your experience with Art Commission. Why don't you tell us how you got that experience and a little bit about how you've dealt with that?
I've actually been really, really lucky because the artists I've dealt with have been very professional. They've delivered things on time, and when they couldn't, they gave me valid reasons. Like Jeff Chen of Jeff Chen Designs. He did the art that's on my Twitter page for my tabletop, the
That's
weird, like dragon rats and whatnot.
That's where I was hoping you would start. Einbrecht's working on a tabletop game, Jack. That's what I was referring to, but he just started.
Okay.
Yeah, and he is a phenomenal artist. He had to move to China, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I'm moving. I will finish your work as soon as I can." And he finished it. It didn't matter to me. But I have seen so many people get fleeced by artists because they paid up front, and then the artists would keep demanding more money and more money and more money and more money. And from those people's experiences, I've just learned that never pay up front. Pay them half and do it by a piece-by-piece basis. Half up front, like say you piece-by-piece basis could be one concept character or one page, and you pay them half of it up front, and when they deliver it, you give them the other half. And like from those experiences that I've watched others have, I've learned those lessons, and I'm just like, poof. I feel bad for these guys. Like, I don't like watching people get fleeced.
Yeah,
And that's the approach I take with the half up front, half upon completion, or half up front, 25% at the midway, 25 when done. But yeah, and he hasn't asked for more money throughout the project, but it is just a series of excuse after excuse.
right. You're losing your deadline. You're not able to start the campaign as quickly as you want to. I get that.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Like, that's awful. And from my experience, I'm not going to impugn this man. I don't know him. This is not a judgment. From my experience, people that do that are really wishy-washy, and they're unlikely to deliver on time.
But unfortunately, somebody has to learn that lesson before anybody else can know about it. And it's usually, I've dealt with people that made excuses. Hell, I've had to make excuses before because, 3 kids, working 2 jobs, and all that good stuff. I feel horrible when I miss a show that we've had scheduled, and I'm just like, I just can't. I just can't do it. And
or you forget what day it is.
That did happen once. But in my defense, I've been working 18-hour days, and I literally forgot what day it was. But no, it's just sometimes it just feels like they don't seem to care, and that's one thing that I've always kind of wondered in partnership situations, like when it's not your love child and you're just giving it flesh, so to speak, when you're the artist and someone else wrote the piece and they're the one doing all the work and all the campaign, like
They don't care.
Yeah, is that something that you experience a lot, or is that something that you like? Do you seek somebody who's just as excited about the project as you are?
For me, yeah. I mean, the guys that I've worked with in the past, this whole game, if you will, is all about reputation. So, the Jim McMunn, who doesn't work on comics anymore, but he drew the 3rd issue for me, the Day at the Beach issue.
Right.
I was the first person that he'd ever worked with. Like, he jumped in and wanted to work with me. He contacted me, seeing my stuff on, social media. And, I mean, he tore it up. He was working on the book, and he got the pencils and inks and everything to me because he works fully digitally. And I was like, all right, well, I got to, try and find a colorist for us. He's like, dude, I'll color it for you. So, like, guys like him and are, banging pages out and getting stuff done ahead of schedule or on schedule, those are the guys you're going to talk up. Those are the guys you're going to recommend.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to be successful. And the guy that I'm working with now, I think part of the problem, and this is not, it's going to sound like a generalization, I apologize, but he's really young.
No,
and
I
maybe he doesn't have the life experience and all of that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, though. That's why traditionally people would look to their elders for advice when going out into the world.
Well, and I'll speak on the young thing too. While it does seem like a generalization, I can speak to the fact that it's not a generalization. Right now, I've got a piece commissioned with Atomic Denny, and we didn't even discuss a time frame or anything like that. I'm really laid back when I commission art. Like, as long as I get it in a reasonable amount of time, I'm okay. I'm not, because I'm commissioning like avatars or art for the show or something like that, right? Like I'm not trying to get something that has a deadline or a print date or anything like that. I'm sure it would be a different situation if it was, but even to that point, like even though we never discussed a deadline or anything, he and I had a conversation the other day, and he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I've had a little bit of stuff come up. I've got a commission with a deadline. I know we didn't talk about a date. Would you mind if I did it before I did your piece?" He didn't even say, "I'm going to have to." He asked if it would be okay with. And that's just the kind of communication you want back and forth. Like, I feel like if before it gets late, if you know it's going to be late, maybe reach out and say, "Hey, I'm plugging away, I'm running behind, I'm doing the best I can, but I've got these things to take." And it softens the blow a little bit and doesn't leave a sour taste in the mouth, even if it does feel bad. But
and one of the things that
go ahead.
one of the things that was really like rubbing me the wrong way is I see this guy in Facebook groups, and people will post that they're looking for an artist, and he's commenting on every one that he's interested in posting samples of his work and stuff. So I messaged him like, "Dude, how about worrying about getting the project you're getting paid for done before you pick up more work?"
Yeah, that would rub me the wrong way a little bit. If you were seeking out work to postpone my work, even for that would upset me.
I do know a lot of people. I've been publishing, this isn't my first go at self-publishing. I know a lot of people. I'm in a lot of private groups. I can tell you none of the people I know are going to hire this guy.
Right.
If anybody looks to me for a recommendation, I am not going to recommend this guy to anyone.
Well, one thing that I've discovered is, when you're in those groups, like the word of mouth thing that you were talking about earlier and just now, when you were describing your first artist that did the third issue, Day at the Beach, when you were describing him, it actually kind of hurt my soul a little bit that this guy isn't doing comics anymore, just from the, basically standing ovation you gave him. Without even going back and looking at issue 3 and remembering his artwork specifically, just the fact that you gave him such a glowing recommendation on his work ethic and the way that he does things. I mean, that made me wish he was still doing books, because that's the kind of talent you want to support, right?
And the real rub is that the reason he quit was all the politics in comics, because, he's like me. He's and just all the bullshit that we got to put up with from, publishers and stuff now, and just the direction comics are going. He just, he's had 2 kids since, and he just threw his hands up and said, forget it, So, yeah. But I haven't given up on him. I'm going to try and pull him back in one of these days.
I got to get that on the soundboard, that from The Sopranos. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. But no, I feel you on that. Einbrecht, you got any questions or anything else you want to add to the discussion? I don't want to hold you up.
Honestly speaking, no. I'm fine to just sit here and listen, to be completely fucking honest.
Fair enough.
To be the main thing I've noticed that I have issue with is finding an artist that is willing to deal with someone who's as hands-on as I am. I don't want to call myself controlling, but I'm very protective of my baby. Like, I've been working on this thing off and on for 10 years. Only the last 2 years have I been active on it, and in the last 2 years I've gotten to an alpha test, to a playable build, because I just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. Like, I hate all these crappy normified D&D clones. Like, they're awful. All of the complexity that was there in 2nd edition is gone, and that was like part of the fun for me. like finally learning like how the saving throws and like THACO and whatnot worked. It felt good once you finished reading it and you went, oh, cool, that's how it works. And you got to play around with your character, and it just I just don't want someone anywhere near my project that isn't going to care about it the way I do.
Right.
And it's been very difficult to find an artist like that, because most of the artists that I have spoken to, while they're very talented, don't get me wrong, very talented people, they don't want to do something that I need. Like, several artists were like, I don't do gore. I'm like, you couldn't have told me this at the beginning when I asked you outright if there's anything that bothers you that you don't want to draw or can't draw. And it's like, God. You know, it is what it is.
Rob Liefeld should be up front about not being able to draw feet.
Or hands, or faces from a side profile, because good lord.
Proportions.
Draw my goddamn feet, Rob.
Realistic guns.
I just want my feet, Rob. Draw
I actually loved... I say this, but like I loved the Liefeld comics. I'm not gonna lie. Like I read that shit, I ate it up.
I did too. Don't get me wrong. I loved Rob Liefeld. I just like giving him shit.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun to shit on. Let's be honest.
Like it's
He's
kind of
such a goober.
It is.
He's such a dickhead, to be honest. Like he's not likable at all. His art's great. Like don't get me wrong. Like.
I mean,
the pouches, that's a bit much.
How many industry greats do we know in any field, though, that are just completely abhorrent pricks? Like Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player of all time, won't even look at you if you ask him to sign something in public. Like, he will not sign anything. I don't care if you're a cancer-laden child in a wheelchair. He will just not sign your shit.
Yeah.
His signature is going to be worth thousands when he dies, but he's not going to sign any fucking thing for you. But anyway, back to fulfillment a little bit, I guess. Now you said that you got off kind of easy with fulfillment because you were able to find your shipping supplies and whatnot. I forget because I backed the campaign so long ago. Did you have additional shipping cost, or did you incorporate shipping into the backer cost?
I just had a flat rate. So for the 3 issues, it was $6 with $5 domestic shipping.
That's how you got. What's going on, Centurion? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, I do remember because when I was promoting the book before you came on, I mean, one of the biggest and easiest selling points that it had. I've been in marketing for 16 years, so the easiest selling point you have is with so many campaigns out there where you get one book or one trade or one issue for anywhere from $15 to $25. You were sending 3 books shipped for $11. Industry grapes, yes, Centurion. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Shut up.
I heard grapes too. I just kept going anyway.
Thank you.
I must just be using your accent because I heard grapes. So
industry grapes, I guess, might suit some. But
Like
yeah, I
Rob
figured
Liefeld.
$11 for 3 books delivered to your doors, or to your front door. That was, a good selling point.
Yeah, it was the easiest selling point that I could find anywhere. I mean, like I said, it's what turned me onto the project before I ever actually contacted you directly. I saw your campaign, and I'm like, wait a minute, $11 for 3 comics? What is this, 1990 again? Have I gone back in time?
Yeah.
Where are my parents? I need my allowance.
Did I misplace my dogs?
Right.
Unfortunately, there will be a higher price point on the next one because Pete has changed printers. So, his you saw the alternative books have gone up in price as well, the 99-cent books and all that. So
yeah,
but yeah, it was so that price point worked out well for me as well. So
right. Well, and that's kind of going to be the norm here for a while too. Anything that had to go through China at any point in time is going to take a hit later. And I'm sorry I keep bringing up the coronavirus. You're not aware of this, but I have been covering this like an autist since December. And then Mr. Medicare got involved in it, and I knew it was serious because anything that you learn on the internet, at least on our sphere of the internet, is Mr. Medicare is literally always right.
Yep.
Like,
never doubt Jim.
I've yet to find a situation where he has been wrong, and it's he's a smart cookie.
Yeah.
He'll never say it himself. He makes fun of himself, but good lord, he's a bright one.
No. Well, you can at least see the writing on the walls. But, I went from, and I've tried to explain this before, but I went from being the local loon in real life to people adding me on social media so that they can get their daily Corona Chan updates. So.
Yeah, well, I welcome it. I figure anything that doesn't kill me just makes me more destructible, so I'm all for it. Hit me up.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been so excited about it. I've been waiting for the end of the world since 2012. So.
Wait, there was an end times thing at 2012, right? It was supposed to be like a meteor or something was going to take us out.
It was the end of the calendar was December 21st.
Oh, right, the Mayan calendar,
yeah.
Which I'm still not convinced it didn't end, because nothing really has felt totally real since then, but, I mean, whatever.
Are you saying your hell is doing a show with the guy who drinks entirely too much whiskey and talks about comic books?
I mean, it might be. We'll give it another few months. Let's hit the year point, and I'll make a full decision on that. At least purgatory.
I mean, you do get fired 4 times a week, so.
It's true.
One day we're going to switch it up on you guys. Ayrton's just going to start firing me. We're going to see how that works out. 12 hours.
The show that episode should just abruptly end. When he fires you, that should just be the end of the episode.
Yep.
Funny enough.
Apparently, Gay Centurion Cheddar bobbed himself.
He what?
Yeah, Gay Centurion shot himself in the leg.
And he still hasn't told me how he managed to do that.
How does that work? I functionally, how does that work? I'm at this point, I want an explanation, but it's just my weird brain.
I'm very curious.
I'm sorry, the chat's just hilarious right now. Matt asked him why he was talking caps lock, and he's like, because I've been yelling in all over the internet for so long, I just forgot. I understand, my dude. I understand.
I also understand. I play Warframe. I meet lots of stupids.
Anyway, so fulfillment worked out pretty well for you. Are there any suggestions that you would have for anybody going through fulfillment? Maybe do your research on your packing material.
Yeah, do your research on your packing material. Figure out how you want to ship, what you're going to have to ship, and you can go on USPS.com and you can, I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm on the far, east side of the country. So like you can go in and pick a city in, California or Washington and estimate the weight and see, approximately what it's going to cost and go from there.
Okay.
So, just, figure the cost of your products into your shipping. So, you don't want to have to go back and either not fulfill or ask for more money because you did not estimate your shipping properly, that sort of thing.
That actually brings me to a topic that we didn't really cover on the show too heavily, but I feel it's worth mentioning. Obviously, a lot of people on the internet are aware, but just in case you guys aren't, on the panel, are you guys familiar with the shipping issue from Bigfoot Bill, the first?
Yeah, I actually voted for that campaign.
I vaguely know that it was a thing.
I only know of it because of the people that Dirtworm Doug kind of cheated, but
And
that technically wasn't his fault.
what did you say, Jack? I couldn't hear you.
I actually backed that campaign.
I did too.
Yeah,
But I didn't back. I never backed the making of books. Not to denigrate the creator or the creation process, but I buy comics, not scrapbooks. It's a cool piece of history for anybody that wants it, and it's a great way to support the creator that does do them. And if that's your thing, then I definitely encourage buying them. But me personally, I just want the book,
yeah.
But
I only wanted the art book because Earthworm Jim was a big part of my early years.
Well, did you get it?
Mm-hmm. I got the whole thing. I got the signed kit or the signed copy and the making of Earthworm Jim and all that.
The reason I bring it up is during that campaign there were I think 100 and something people internationally that backed the larger campaign for the book and the sketchbook, I guess, the making of book, and they didn't get the making of book because the shipping cost was too high or those books weren't created or something like that. And it created a big endeavor. I said this earlier. I'm going to take a page out of the Ralph Retorts book. I'm going to wear my moderator hat and stay neutral to the topic because, while I don't agree with a lot of comics creators' personal politics and personal saying, for me, it's very important that it stays about the comics. I've always maintained that that's why I'm here. That's why I'm supporting these campaigns. I still say Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time, even though I think he's an asshole. I would hope that people would judge me on my character and not the fact that I enjoy the stories enough to keep buying the books, even though I think the person is detestable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
If you look at my books, obviously I have no filter. My books are not PC. You're not going to get a life lesson or a lesson on ethics or anything from me. So you can tell where I stand on the whole thing. But by that same token, I try to avoid as much of the drama as I can. I want the books to speak for themselves.
Right.
Well,
and that's
me will tell you I'm a fucking prick, but
sure,
I'm not throwing that out there for
I mean, we like you here on the show. You could be a total asshole, but you're not an asshole to us, so we're good with it.
Have me on the third time. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, honestly speaking, I think it's a matter of just be cordial until someone shits on you.
Basically, you're also on Happy Jack. Third time appearance, chess boxing match. Me and you.
All right. I'm in.
That's where we go 3 rounds. We play a game of chess. We go 3 more rounds.
We can do
I
that.
You boxed with one hand and played chess with the other.
We could do that too. I'm down.
Okay.
Speed chess.
Chess is a lost art form. I know how to play.
Yeah, I teach people how to beat me, and that's as far as I get. Like I can't teach people how to play well enough for not well enough for me to beat them, if that makes sense. Like by the time they get as good as they're going to be, I can't beat them anymore because I've taught them how to beat me.
That's basically how I was with Magic the Gathering. I taught a buddy of mine how to play, and he got super into it. And at first, for the first couple of months, he couldn't beat me no matter what. And then something clicked, and he started figuring out more competent deck builds, and he just mopped the floor with anyone. He actually won a regional championship sometime in the last 4 years. Well, I don't know if he had a gamer tag when he did it, but his actual name is Blake McCracken.
Let's
Good
table
dude.
the Magic the Gathering discussion for just a minute. I do want to come back to it. I just don't know if our guest is familiar or gives a shit about Magic the Gathering, and I want to get through the point that I was just making. So just 1 second on that. Now, the reason that I brought up the Bigfoot Bill fiasco in the first campaign is I don't know if you're aware, but the second Bigfoot Bill has launched. And there's a little bit of a
I
controversy.
did see that, yeah.
A little bit of a controversy surrounding that campaign right now. And I just kind of wanted to go around the panel and get everybody's thoughts on it. But basically, if you're doing any kind of international shipping, your shipping cost is up to double or triple the amount of the actual campaign. So
I see that. I haven't looked at the new campaign.
So I just kind of just based on what I given you as far as those numbers, like what are your thoughts on that? Because just going to Canada, like it's almost double the actual cost of the book to get it shipped.
Yeah, and it is expensive. It was I shipped a print. But I shipped the 4 comics and a print to Ontario for a backer, and that was I think right around $21 shipping. And it was a big package because it was 11 by 17 print.
Yeah.
So it was expensive. I forget what I charged for shipping, but I had a backer in Australia, and I don't think you can get any further away from America than Australia.
No,
And
not at all.
I forget what it was just to ship the 4 books there. The $25 covered it, but I think maybe just barely.
Right.
But
now, if I may be
all that money comes to the creator.
Right.
So it's like back in the early days of eBay where you would charge a penny for something and $30 shipping.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
You're working the system there. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
If that is indeed what he's doing.
Well, from what I understand is when you're an international, like your regular shipping is fair, I think. Like your U.S. shipping and all, I say regular. Your U.S. shipping is standard shipping, I think. It's like $10-15 for the hardcover book and whatever stretch goals you manage. Which, I mean, they're heavy books, and he ships them in a custom box usually. So, it's not going to be a standard mailer or whatever. It's going to have some weight to it. It's going to have some dimension. And as somebody that ships thing at his job, I do know that occasionally just sending something that weighs half a pound but is 2 foot by 3 foot, wide and tall or wide and long and 1 inch tall because it's like a cardboard sign, right? Just to send that across the state, sometimes it can be up to $20-30 just because of the size of it.
Yeah, my niece in LA backed my campaign, and she got the prints and the books, and I packaged it up, took it to the post office, not expecting much, and it was $30 to ship it to LA. So I definitely lost money on that one. So that is, for someone that's doing that sort of thing. So like the comics, I could ship media mail.
Right.
And now there is some discrepancy on that because supposedly you're not allowed to ship comic books media mail if they have ads in them.
Really?
But, yeah. Right. And the girl that I'm saying did a little research for me, and she said that, like, on their site, it specifically mentions comic books as far as not being media mail.
Now, you know why.
But, you gotta...
That's so weird.
We've actually covered the reason why on this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. People used to smuggle drugs through comics.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Wait, really? That was a thing?
Yeah. That was a complete racket. Like, people were selling and smuggling drugs in comic books. They would take, like, Ziploc bags or whatever, and they would, like, how you have, like, the thicker, like, 50-page comics or whatever? They would cut them out like jail Bibles. and they would flatten out a Ziploc baggie full of drugs as flat as they could and put it in the comic book, and put like 5 regular comics on the top and on the bottom, and they would ship it media, and nobody would look twice at it. But they were shipping millions of dollars worth of drugs.
Huh. Because I wasn't shipping drugs out.
I mean, you missed the mark on that. Then you could have made a lot of money.
Well, something to consider for the second campaign, then.
There you go.
But,
Sounds like a ambitious endeavor.
The dime bag special.
Bring up something then that for the second campaign I'm going to look at. So the books can ship media mail. You know, you have to go into the post office with a don't ask, don't tell policy. You know, if they're not going to question you, ship a media mail, do what you got to do. But
Right.
now the prints can't.
Oh.
So, you know, this is something you may want to consider in shipping items separately, just because of how they ship and what the cost is. So for the second campaign, for the first campaign, the print was a bunch of heroes from Nerosville. For the second campaign, I want to do a villains pinup. And, you know, if I do go that route, then they're going to have to ship separately.
Okay.
There is for my YouTube channel, I was doing an Indiegogo and Beyond story, and I fell behind. I did the first 2, and I haven't gotten back to the third one yet. The third one was going to be titled Campaign Math, and it is. There are just so many things to consider and so many things to look into that it's like a crazy spreadsheet I was writing down of points to hit for when you're, you know, going into a campaign and figuring out what you're going to charge for shipping, what it's going to cost you, the miscellaneous stuff. I mean, you know, rolls of tape and all that kind of stuff. Like, you want to try and figure as much out beforehand going in and, you know, do all your math and do all your homework. So you aren't, you know, coming out then with an update begging people for more money for shipping.
Right. I mean, that's where a lot of campaigns have kind of fallen to the wayside, as far not just comics, but any crowdfunding campaign or whatever. Like there are compilation videos online of people that have put out things that people actually wanted and paid more than enough to fund, and it just never happened. Because, you know, either the development took too long and we didn't have enough money to pay the people working on it, or, you know, the artists just took the money and ran, or shipping just never worked out, or we couldn't get the specific part we needed machined in mass enough quantity to justify the cost of making it. And, you know, there are horror stories out there, and luckily, you know, knock on wood, I've had good luck with all the books that I've backed, and that everything that I've backed to this point, I've gotten at a reasonable time when I expected to get it. Delays, I understand. Comic projects, we're in the, I guess what I would call the second phase of crowdfunding comics. Pretty much everybody who's still in the game, for the most part, not counting those just getting involved, but pretty much everybody who's still in the game and succeeded, or at least, you know, was met with mild success, even if they didn't consider it a success. Anybody that fulfilled, basically, and is still working in comics, they all kind of know the peaks and valleys of the crowdfunding way, and hopefully everybody learned from their mistakes. Hopefully everybody's like talking to each other and, you know, learning from each other's mistakes, coming up with a plan. I had hoped to see, honestly, at this point, a coalition of creators, and we might see it out of what the project CG Jumpstart is, but a coalition of creators coming together to, you know, assist one another and assist new people in crowdfunding comics and what to expect, what to deal with, how to set it up, the kind of expectations and the expectation management, all of that stuff. But
I think that's something that I might have covered the first time I was on the show. get out there and talk to people. On all the social media, like and follow and friend other creators, and one of the most important things you can do is if you see a project you like, regardless if you're friends with the person, know the person, if you see a project you like, start retweeting and, sharing the post and get to know these people. And that's how I got but I got invited into some private groups on Twitter.
Right.
And there's guys on there that have done numerous campaigns and are very successful. And, it's not competition. We're not in there competing with each other. We're in there helping each other. New guys are coming in all the time and they're asking questions, or even if we just see something, we're reaching out and telling them, hey, have you considered doing this or using this, company or whatever? And, it can save you so much headache and money just by getting in with a bunch of like-minded people and having those people that have your back and are willing to help promote you and educate you. I understand as an artist and a creator myself, in a perfect world, I would be in my studio all day long working on comics, cut off from the outside world.
Right.
But unfortunately, in this day and age, that's not how it works.
No.
So, not
even a little bit.
I am an introvert. Yeah, I've always been an introvert. I tell people flat out I hate people. I don't want to be in social settings.
I feel your pain, my brother.
Not my thing. But to some extent, you have to get out there and get in with other people. And not
people
just
have to know who
creators.
you are. They got to get used to you, and they have to learn to trust you or they're not going to back you.
And so not even just talking to other creators about the creative end, talk to people that are backing. You see people that are backing campaigns on, that they're advertising or posting that they're backing campaigns. Find out why. Find out what they like. Watch the successful campaigns and see what they're doing. And,
come on, shows
what is
like
it?
this.
The old G.I. Joe. Yeah. And that was one of the first things I did when I launched my campaign. I started hitting people up like you guys. I reached out and sent you a link so you could read all the books up front for free. And if it was something that you liked or you're interested in, I'd be interested in coming on your show if, you'd help me promote. And I ended up doing, I don't know, 10 shows just by doing that and getting the word out.
Well,
so
that's definitely, I wasn't going to gloat on it too much, but that's definitely one of the things that really stood out to me is that you were so confident in your work that you were willing to put it all out there. Like, you weren't expecting people to just promote you without being able to read and review the work. And I mean, that kind of really showed how much you had faith in your abilities and your work and the final product. That it gave me the faith to back the campaign even before I read it. I was, quite interested in the project. I kind of have a rule that, as far as living paycheck to paycheck and supporting a family and whatnot, I can't go hog wild and back everything I want to right away. And there's so many good projects out there. And it's hard because sometimes they'll launch 3, 4, 5 at the time. And, I can't just justify throwing $150, $200 at a stack of comics at one time, usually.
Dude, I feel that pain. I'm right now having that problem with Xenotype, Blade Devil, Monster MD, and Shadow Sentry. I'm just sitting here like, I want to back all of them.
Well, back Monster MD first, back Monster MD first because Ayrton and I are reviewing it. You can jump on in that.
I backed Monster MD first, and then Xenotype went live, and I backed it. I'm backing Shadow Sentry on the 1st of April, and I'm backing whatchamacallit tomorrow night.
Well, there you go.
Blade Devil. That's the word. Blade Devil's the term I was looking for. Jesus Christ.
Now, what was?
It's my friend's manga, but I'm like, I can't remember its name. I'm a moron. Jesus.
What was your thought, Jack?
Yeah. Say, I'm in the same boat. Like, so I'm recently single again, so I am
I'm
now paying the
sorry.
house and all the bills on myself.
I'm sorry and or happy to hear that, depending on which one you want to hear.
You're happy to hear that, and so I am now faced with all of the household bills. So I don't have the money to back a bunch of campaigns. And one of the things I did on my campaign that a lot of guys aren't doing is a digital option. And for somebody like me, if I can throw $5 out and get a book digitally, I can help a creator out, and I can still enjoy the book. I prefer a floppy copy in my hand. Like I am a tangible guy. I want a book. I'm a collector.
It's actually one of the things I'm doing for my tabletop because it's so I'm trying not to talk about it. There's so much to it that it would be a multiple book ordeal, and no one wants a multiple book ordeal buy-in for something from someone they've never heard of. So I'm doing a digital edition, which is going to be like $30, and it contains everything. Because you've got to pull people in, and if they really like your product, some of them will go and collect the physical version once there is one.
For a creator, like on my end, that $5 ended up getting you, what was it? I think 89 pages of comic books. But on my end, that's $5 that I made that there was really no cost in, except for sending out a link.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Now,
a lot of guys don't want to do it because they're seeing the big dollar signs on the physical copies.
Well, I was actually going to interject a question before you make that answer. Do you think that, the fear of your books getting out there pirated and being passed around by people that don't like you or don't like your site or whatever, do you think that might be a barrier on the digital market as well?
For bigger guys, maybe. For me, I don't care. Pirate the book and send it out to everybody you know. You know what I mean?
Free marketing.
It's free marketing. For someone like me, that's free marketing. I don't,
people that really like it will go out and buy it.
It might reach someone's hands who likes it and wants a physical copy. So when I do the next campaign, because I printed a ton of books, so I would have copies of the first 3. So on the second campaign, there will be an option to get the first 3 issues as well as the books on the second campaign. And if somebody out there reads a pirated copy and really likes it and wants to order it, really no downside for me,
Well,
for bigger guys, I can see where it would be an issue.
Well, I was going to say I may be a little biased, but I'm happy for anybody that picks up and reads the book, regardless of whether they bought it or pirated it too, because then they might find this channel and subscribe. If you haven't done that, by the way, hit the subscribe button, the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. You can throw some money towards their lunch fund. You can join the Patreon. We have Discord integration, all that good stuff. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Something else to consider outside of the actual creation of the books is to talk to people. There's people out there that do, digital marketing and that sort of thing. So like, I'm a little lucky in that the girl I'm seeing now, like that's her wheelhouse. So like, she's already breaking my balls about how bad I am at self-promotion and this, that, and the other thing, and not keeping my YouTube channel up and running and my website updated. So, she's going to be cracking the whip on me, and, that's just going to help things. So I like the paddle better than the whip, but I can go either way. But yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, like that kind of stuff is gold too. There's a lot to do. It's not, studio creating a comic book and then just when it's done leaning back waiting for people to come to you. There is a lot of work in it, and you got to go into it figuring you're going to wear a whole lot of hats.
Oh yeah. Now I did have a question, and for anybody that's interested in these books, because you have digital copies available, is there a way to continue to support you after a campaign ends and buy the digitals from you directly?
have that set up yet. That is something I'm going to set up on my website with some help. But yeah, I'm going to set up a store on the site so that if people want to order physical copies or a digital copy or whatever, they can do that. And that is one of the nice things about Indiegogo is if your book gets fully funded, then you can do the in demand and keep selling after the fact. So that's
now. Can you
an
do
approach
that
I'm going
with?
to take.
Can you do that with flexible funding, or like if you don't hit your goal, but if you have a flexible funding goal?
You have to hit your goal, and that was something that I didn't know in advance. I should have looked into that. I would have set my goal lower. And that's something I might actually put the first 3 books out again as like a second chance campaign before I get the next campaign rolling. And if I do that, I'm going to set my goal at like $20. So I sell 2 sets of books, I'll hit my goal, and then the in-demand will be available.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's not something that's available if you don't hit your actual goal.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And like I said, that's something where you've got to sit down and do your math and figure out what your point is, whether you're looking to reach a break-even point, whether you're looking to, make $1,000 or $10,000 beyond it. So you've got to understand that if you set a fixed goal and you don't hit that number, you're back at square one. If you hit a flexible goal, you're going to be possibly fulfilling either way. So you just got to figure out where you are and what you need to do.
Okay. So that's something to consider if anybody's doing an Indiegogo for anything in the future. Flexible goals do not allow you to go in demand, and that was also something I didn't know. Because I remember when you were on the first time, is that you and I were discussing your commitment to shipping books regardless of hitting your goal, and that was something unique that I hadn't seen in another campaign at that point.
Don't want to mislead people. I think with a flexible goal, you can do in demand if you hit your actual goal. Because even with a flexible goal,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Is that if with a flexible goal, if you don't hit the goal, even though you still get the money, if with a fixed goal, the money goes back to the backers automatically. Correct? Am I correct on
the
that?
backers automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's then just nothing happens. It's like it never happened. But yeah, so the in demand's nice. So take that into consideration because if you watch campaigns, you can see that even after they're ended, the number's still ticking up. People are still finding about it after the fact. And that's where, like, one of the nice things now for me post fulfillment is seeing Twitter posts and Facebook and all that stuff of people posting the pictures that they received their product and showing pictures of it. If it was still in demand, I could go in there, drop a link, and people could still go get the books.
Well, that's something that I was talking to Mrs. Church about. She knows that anytime I get any kind of large package, like not large package, but any kind of like larger than a bill package in the mail, that is usually a comic book, and I turn into a giddy little 16-year-old schoolgirl on prom night. So usually I come straight home and I put on my my little nitrile gloves and I rip into the project and I start looking through it and I just kind of fangirl all over myself in private for about 10 minutes. And then I compose myself and usually post about it on Twitter.
And one of the cool things is one of the backers actually did a unboxing of my books on his YouTube channel. So that was pretty cool to see.
I am shit with video, or I would do the same thing. That's why my my streams are pretty boring. There's a lot of stationary images and us talking, but it's what we like to do, and it's apparently what our close knit follower group likes, and we just keep doing it. So, but I do want to ask. You're the guest of honor this evening. I do want to ask your permission before I do this. Would you mind me briefly plugging another campaign while I have you on? Can you hear me? Am I talking? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So last night, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rick Piper and John Dillard. They're pretty good friends of the show. We've had them on a couple of times. Rick Piper is Canadian, and therefore he is creating a comic called The Canadian Shield. It reminds me a little bit of your project in the sense that he has an entire universe of characters and stories figured out, and the Canadian Shield is just the first character and comic in that universe. But it has 7 days left. It is at $1,475 US. It is trying to reach $2,000. So we are $525 shy of that campaign. Now, the interesting thing about this campaign, again, I want to remind everybody that you have several tiers ranging from $5 for a digital copy all the way up to a hand-delivered full campaign, like backer, action figure, comic, sketch, everything. $1,500, and Rick Piper will deliver it straight to your door with a handwritten apology and a bottle of maple syrup. So, also, anyone backing this campaign at the action figure level, the first person, I should say, that backs this campaign at the action figure level of $300 will get a piece of original full-page splash art from John Dillard. That's a beautiful piece. We've shown it on the show before. I do not currently have it, although I do have... Oh, nope, there it is. I do have it. I will pull it up. Let's see.
Dillard's a pretty outstanding artist.
I like John Dillard. He's a fun guy. So we will fit it to screen there. We'll unlock it. We'll make it a little larger. The people can see. But that's the start of the splash page that is being given away at the $300 level. It's not completed yet, but that's a sneak peek of what you get. Anybody that is interested in that is at Indiegogo.com. I don't know that I can actually read the full link because it's Indiegogo. Indiegogo.com/the-Canadian-shield-issue1-2/X/2154. I'm just going to put it in the chat.
Yeah. I was wondering how far you were going to get with that before you gave up.
Yeah,
as
and
far
I'm
as
jump
I
in here
can.
quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to jump in here real quick for the guys running Indiegogos. He said that's the wrong piece, but for the guys running Indiegogos,
Sorry, same artist, wrong piece.
bit.ly.com is your best friend. You go in there, you drop your gigantic Indiegogo link in, and it shrinks it down to something far more manageable. So it's a lot easier to share on social media where you've got a limited number of characters and all that sort of thing.
I'm sorry, John or Rick. I was thinking it was the right one. I have several pieces of Dillard's art now. I just pulled up the wrong one. I thought I had it. I didn't. Sue me. Buy the Canadian Shield, by the way.
Canadian. He's too nice to do that.
Also, apologize, Rick. Apologize for correcting me, even though I was wrong.
Rick, don't apologize.
Don't apologize.
Slap his penis off.
Please don't. That's not very Christian. Anyway.
Ayrton, it might be time for you to fire him, Ayrton.
It might be.
It's my show. Besides, I don't have everything set up to just kill the show dead. I mean, I guess I could just unplug my computer. Pretty sure YouTube would just keep going for 12 hours. I'd pull a literal Randbot. But speaking of firing...
Oh, God, Randbot passed out in his chair. Oh, that shit was funny.
You're fired.
Damn it! You just beat me to it.
I actually disconnected him too. He's actually fired. Ayrton, get back in here.
Fucking Ayrton.
Did you just fucking kick me from the?
I did.
Welcome. I was like, wait, What
Welcome.
happened to everything?
Welcome to the show, Rick. I just fired Ayrton proper for the first time for threatening to fire me. I had to assert my dominance. How's it going, buddy?
I apologize for nothing.
All right. Rick Piper.
That's exactly how you should respond.
Rick Piper. Meet Happy Jack from Knuckle Supper Studios. Happy Jack. This is Mr. Rick Piper from Cross Comics.
Good luck on your campaign, man.
Thank you. And I apologize for nothing.
Thank you.
Don't be a hoser.
If you haven't already, after the show is done, you may want to kind of go back because the whole topic of this has been Happy Jack's experience doing crowdfunding and fulfillment. So you might glean a few things that you might not have thought about. And I definitely want to have, like, I'm trying to get everybody that I've backed that has been on the show back on after their campaign's complete so that we can talk about the individual experience and see what's different and what's the same between people. I figure that might be a good little thought experience.
Oh, definitely.
Well, the one thing I would... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. You apologize. You apologize. I win.
Yes, but I apologize to Happy or Egbert.
You said you apologize for nothing. You apologize for something. Now I win, sir.
Okay, I guess you do. Okay, I apologize for nothing to you.
Give it 10 more minutes. Your Canadian will leak through.
No, I was just going to say the one thing is for during the campaign, make sure you collect the emails because if you don't fund and you want to relaunch, that way you have it to, send out all to everybody. Hey, I relaunched my project, or for another campaign for something else.
Yeah, that too.
Now, that brings me to an interesting point, and I don't know, I'm sure people have considered this. A lot of creators start an email list before they start a campaign, but if you have the email list from your backers and you don't fulfill, once you restructure your campaign and start it up again, and this is just an idea, not a recommendation or anything, but it would be interesting to see maybe doing a special tier for those that backed before and then rebacked, if there's a way to keep track of that.
Well, obviously, if you collect all the emails, it's easy to keep track that way. And actually, somebody did do that. The guys from Hero, HIRO, they did that. They didn't fund the first time around. They had a special tier for everybody who backed the first time when they relaunched.
That's pretty
and then
cool.
I think they funded the second.
I was autistic enough to be the first backer on Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. And
I wanted to be the first backer for Xenotype, but I fell asleep.
Yeah, I took my break right about 20 minutes before the campaign went live and just started like spastically refreshing the page.
Oh, that reminds me. Good Lord. Xenotype. If you're at all a fan of the old Guyver anime or the Guyver re-release anime that came out in the 2000s, check out Xenotype. It's very much it's very similar, and that's what I love about it.
We've reviewed the Guyver manga with Captain Weeb on this channel, right?
Yes, sir.
Why would you do that to me? Don't you know how much money I've spent on my comics since I got tax returns? My wife is going to kill me if I keep backing things.
I mean, like, if you loved Guyver, you're going to love Xenotype. It's that simple. Like, yeah, I'm a lunatic for Guyver. I was so goddamn happy when I saw what they were planning with Xenotype.
Well, I'll have to look at that. We reach out to. Do you have a line to the creator? Maybe we can get him on.
I could certainly ask.
Definitely.
I imagine they wouldn't mind having more people to market their product to.
I've groups with the guys as well. I can probably talk to them.
See, there you go.
I would definitely be interested in having them on.
All right, yeah, I'll hit him up.
Who's deep throating the mic, Matt Christie? Who's deep throating their mic?
Oh, it could be me.
All right, I've adjusted Rick's levels. No, not the MacGyver Centurion. The Guyver. It's an anime and manga that was adapted to two very, very bad 80s movies that were released in the 90s.
I wouldn't call the second one bad, but it wasn't good. It was fun to watch.
Then, I mean, you can not call it bad
Yeah, but-
all you want. You can just be wrong on that.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean,
Well, and now that Centurion has said the MacGyver, I really want to do one with like an Irish Guyver type project.
I would back the shit out of that, and I'm pretty sure our local Scottish Randbot, Novel Bro, would also back the shit out of that.
oh, dude, he would back that faster than fucking Nate Diaz destroyed Pretty Boy in their first fight, or second fight, rather. Because, yeah.
Would he back it? That's Irish, not Scottish. You know, they feud, you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Novel Bro is pretty accepting of other UK people. He hates them all equally because you got to keep one thing in mind. Scott,
He's a good dude.
Scots hate everybody, including other Scots. So
I believe he's been quoted as saying he would gladly box any one of us.
chess boxing. But anyway, so that's kind of the overall points of crowdfunding and fulfillment from Knuckle Supper Studios. So all in all, just from my general breakdown for anybody who's stayed this long, and correct me at any point if you would like to tell me I'm wrong, because I usually am. But all in all, I could glean the fact that because you prepared ahead of time, because you were ready to ship pretty much as you started your campaign, or you were ready to fulfill at least as you started your campaign, you came out a little bit ahead of the curve, from my opinion, than a lot of other people have in their endeavors, without having to just blow the roof off of your campaign. Like, you didn't cross a 6 or 7 figure mark, but I feel like your fulfillment job was probably one of the best ones I've ever seen. So
Going into it, I was trying to think of ways to differentiate, our campaign from other campaigns, and quick shipping was, kind of a no-brainer considering I had all the books done. So, part of running a successful campaign is, satisfying your backers, leaving them feeling that they got, their money's worth or more, and I think got it in a timely manner. So that was definitely, something that I was pushing.
you definitely got high marks on that front. Just personally, from my experience, when I opened up that package, I literally was a little bit worried about posting an image of it until I saw other people posting theirs, because I didn't want people to think that I had gotten special treatment. And then I realized, oh shit, he just did this for everybody. Like, you made me feel special, and it was like I didn't want to put you on blast because you had treated me better than everybody else. And then I realized you just treated everyone that special. And I was just so blown away by that fact that it just kind of, like, because obviously I wasn't expecting a sketch, I wasn't expecting decals, I wasn't expecting anything besides 3 comics for $11. And then,
Which is an exceptional price in the modern comic market.
and I was even willing to forgive the idea, like, I already had it in my head that, okay, well, I can already accept the idea if this particular guy comes back and says in a backer update, hey guys, due to some issues or a printing issue or, a shipping kerfluffle, I'm only going to be able to do 2 physical books with the amount of money I've raised. And, here's the thing. I was ready to accept that wholeheartedly and not even make a deal of it. And you went above and beyond as opposed to falling back. Because when I saw, flat shipping on that, I'm like, there's no way. And somehow you pulled it off. So that's something that I think that,
Yeah, it was
I think everybody in the crowdfunding game can take a look at, the Indiegogo for Tales from Nerosville. That's Neroesville, Nerosville.
Yeah, there's no G in it.
there's no G in there.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Jesus.
What
Thank
do
you
you-
for that, Ayrton.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'll send you the vector. I'll send you the vector art I have for a Sandy Beige 42 pass, so you can incorporate it into one of your future comics.
I think they did a drawing for that when that was up. Lightning Doug.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's this guy.
Yeah. Okay. I think I had one of them. Him on my show actually the day I drew it, or shortly after.
That was me. I did not realize that was you. Nice to see you again.
Well, there you go.
The one and only
Customer
Rick Piper.
and vendor reunited, gentlemen.
The one and only Rick Piper.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to buy it, but no, I drew up his character on my channel. Or I did
Oh, okay. I got you now.
Yeah, he
Sorry,
did
I
a
misunderstood.
live draw.
That's awesome. That's actually, that kind of shit's really helpful too, because fan art is, I don't understand why people are so, okay, I get it. So some people are art snobs. I'm sometimes one of those people, I admit it. But never scoff at someone that's drawing something that you made because they like what you made. That is such a cool thing. That is, fan art is, I don't care if it's a stick man. And I think that's why I like so many of the creators in Comicsgate. They're just, they see fan art and they go, dude, this is great. Thank you. I'm psyched that you're this excited for my project that you drew this. And it's just, there's a lot of good creators coming out of Comicsgate, and I don't know. It's an exceptional community, despite what certain people say about it.
Cough, cough. Coof, coof. John Dillard, unsolicited church art on the screen right now. Man, fucking tastic.
Oh no, he made church art. Oh, I gotta see this now. Dillard is fucking ridiculous.
Oh, you haven't seen this yet? It's beast, dude. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Well, where did he put it?
Oh, that is fantastic, Dillard. What are you doing, man?
It's on the actual stream, Rick. I can throw it in the Discord if you'd like as well. Let's see. Copy. I hope it's not too big for the Discord. I'm going to put
it's
it in
coming out of
live
the ground. The streets coming apart.
Yeah, there we go. It's uploading to the live show chats right. It's going to take 15 years because it's humongous. But I love it. It's so beautiful. It makes me so happy. Because that's initially what I thought of when I not exactly that, it's a transformer type idea, but which you've seen in most of my other avatars, but this is a completely unique take on it, and I love it so much. I almost feel like I'm in Attack on Titan. Like I said, the joke that I made at the beginning of the stream that just kind of fell flat is this takes being big as a house to a whole new level. And wait, I don't even need to do that live anymore. I think I have it. Let's see if it works. Hold on, wait for it. Can it? No. Oh, maybe. There we go. Delayed reaction. But it's probably because I'm uploading that piece of artwork. It's only halfway done. Now, Jack,
Man, you must have
go ahead.
a terrible internet connection.
Well, I live in a town with a monopoly. What do you want?
I understand your pain.
Jack, the gay centurion, aka Cheddar Centurion, in chat has said do a Scottish one called
Drunken Brawl.
Well, of course it is. I mean, Novel Bro and I pretty much decided the other day that the Scottish only have one folk song, and that's "I'm drunk and I'll fight you, cunt." Anything else out there? Obviously, since Rick Piper's terrible at it, I will say, go back Canadian Shield on Indiegogo. Back it for $1,500.
Have a digital version, yeah?
For Canadian Shield?
Yes.
There is a digital option, yes.
I'm going to back digitally then. I don't have a lot of money left this month for leisure stuff, so I can back digitally. That's good.
I appreciate that. And just
No, don't thank me, dude. Don't thank me. I feel weird when people thank me for shit.
Just say
fuck you, sorry. Fuck you, Einbrecht. Go to hell.
Sorry.
I am sorry that he's backing it.
That's much better. Thank you.
Also, keep your eyes open for the new campaign for.
You're asking for a Tilly.
What was that? You sound like you have put the mic up your anus and are talking into it.
My headset actually just died, and I have no idea where my headphones are. So I'm trying.
Oh, that sucks.
And I'm trying to find them at the same time.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, we'll get a little bit closer to the iPad, and I'll turn you up a little bit.
Bearing in mind, earbuds can also do double as microphones if you plug them into your microphone port.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I don't know where my earbuds are.
You're good. I've adjusted you. Just remind me to fix it when you find your headphones. Anyway,
okay.
Everybody be on the lookout for Tales from Nerosville, the second campaign on Indiegogo, correct? Jack?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And you said you're going to do digital.
And,
you're going to have digital as well, sir?
Digital. I'll definitely do digital.
Okay, perfect. I can back you as well then. That's awesome. Because I can afford digital right now. Yay! Sorry.
Yeah, I get mine's $5 for my digital, so and you get the buckler ash can with that too. So you're getting $2 for that. I couldn't alter it to say that, but I'll give the digital the buckler ash can for anybody who's getting that thing.
So definitely check these two guys out. I've got the information for Happy Jack. Follow him on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter to keep up with his project. Check out our last episode to get all the information on Cross Comics. Mr. Rick Piper, I dropped his link in the chat. It's right up at the top of the current page of chat. And definitely, if you haven't liked, subscribed, shared, all that nonsense with the YouTube stuff, do that for us. But, whatever. But I definitely also want to thank everyone for coming on and making this a pretty fun show. I really enjoyed it. It definitely told me a lot more about the crowdfunding process than I really knew. Now, I do feel like, again, it's not a clear. There's not going to be a clear, concise template for everyone's experience, which is why I'm interested in hearing about other creators and their fulfillment experiences as they happen, because I feel like they're all going to be a little bit different. But once you take all that information and put it in one place and kind of sift through it all, there'll be a pretty clear template on how a creator can start a crowdfunding campaign, fund a book, move it to fulfillment. And right now, from the people that I've talked to, the number one thing that keeps coming up is network. Whether somebody's got 20 regular viewers like this show, or whether somebody's got 100,000 viewers. Be on every show you can get on. Talk to every creator that will talk to you. Try to reach every customer that might be interested in your work. Be nice to people, even if you don't like their personal choices. Don't
There's
attack
no reason to be
potential
disrespectful
fans.
to a person.
Unless they're disrespectful to you first.
Yes,
I don't advocate.
That's precisely it.
I don't advocate, people as creators taking flack from people just because they might be customers one day. But I also
I agree with that as well.
I don't think creators need to do anything to polarize themselves. But again, I'm not your dad. Do what you want to. That's just these are the main talking points. Get on the show, Comic Hut. Stop blocking me on Twitter. Stop blocking me on Twitter. You finally got my dummy account, novel bro, or Comic Hut. You finally got it. Get the fuck on the show and let's talk about it.
Hut doesn't have the balls, dude. He'd rather just autistically screech at everyone that's a fan of EBS from the sidelines.
I will find a screenshot of his beautiful blue tape and put it up on the screen so he will feel right at home. I will walk him through turning off his camera live on air.
Or at least putting a backdrop up like we do.
Yeah, well, I turned off my camera before I ever thought about streaming. I don't want the fucking NSA watching me. I got tape on my shit too, but it doesn't show on fucking screen. But
maybe he's just scared they're going to turn it on them, remotely.
Oh man. Anyway, I definitely want to thank you guys, Jack, Einbrock, Rick, Ayrton, even you. Thanks for making this a great show. And if you guys have anything else, we will start with the guest. Happy Jack, if you've got any final thoughts or any final words.
Just be honest with your backers. Don't promise more than you can fulfill. And for any creators out there that are looking to possibly do a campaign, look me up, hit me up. If you got questions, I'll help you out any way I can.
All right, and then
I might take you up on that once I'm ready to publicly market. But yeah, dude, back this guy, guys. Come on, like.
I didn't even.
He's a good dude. He delivered his first campaign. It sounds like at personal expense. He's gonna deliver. Back him. Don't be assholes.
Well, I think that was pretty succinct from my part, and I didn't have to. I didn't even have to give him a prompt, so we will move right along to Mr. Rick Piper. Go ahead.
Hey, go back to Canadian Shield. Yeah, and if anybody's doing a campaign, they can look me up. Come on, do a little bit of promotion. I used to have streams where I talk to people about it, but I don't so much anymore. But we can just come on, chill, and we talk about their campaign.
Or you can come on the Gospel of Comics and talk with us with Rick Piper.
Yeah, that's
it.
All right, so I
you
guess
see what a good dude he is too. Actually, he's really personable. It's pretty. It's funny how many of the people in Comicsgate are just nice people.
He puts up with me, Einbrecht. I can't say enough about that.
He puts up with Dillard.
I mean, Dillard's pretty degenerate. I love the dude, but he's a pretty big degenerate.
We love you, Dillard. And with that, I will move on to Ayrton, which I think he knows what to say.
Good night, everybody.
Well, do you have anything else to say before that, Jesus?
No. Well, you
no bad joke this time.
You prompted me to do my outro line.
I did, but I wanted to give you a second as well if you had anything you wanted to say.
I mean, I would like to get the... I think Ironbrock's seen this, but I would like to get the panel's quick opinion on the comic book character superhero that I've created at work recently.
No, God!
No, God, please, no, no,
That's an appropriate response.
no.
All right, we'll pull the autistic lantern up on stream. Again, this just makes me uncomfortable because I can't tell whether he's looking forward or backwards. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the sense of perspective is very off.
Okay, that's definitely not the autistic lantern.
Yeah, that's definitely Transformer Church, you silly boy.
No, give it 20 seconds, you assholes. It takes a minute. Apologize, Rick. And I'm Brett. You're both Canadian. Both of you apologize right now. There, it should be up.
It's the puzzle piece is just.
His ring is shaped like a puzzle piece too. You just can't see it in this drawing.
No.
All right, now do the line, Eric.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.